Trauma and safety. Every person and woman deserves a sense of safety, both externally and internally. However, a woman who has been betrayed, who's been lied to, who's been cheated on, who has been given the pain, the trauma, and the grief of his sexual addiction, of his infidelity, or his intimacy anorexia, they need it even more. This can be overly heightened or important to the woman who has had sexual abuse in her past, has been raped, has physical or emotional trauma prior to this event with her husband. Or if he has continued in his behavior, repeatedly lying about being clean and being found out, that re-traumatization can be really challenging. Trauma amplifies the pain. Amplified pain wants to be solved now. It wants to be stopped. You know, it's like I'll be having surgery on my tooth this next week, and it's been kind of mild pain, but if that thing flares up, I want it taken care of now. And trauma takes pain and it just magnifies it. Often because there's been unresolved stuff, sometimes it's because the distance between who you are as a woman, as a good woman who doesn't lie, who's relational, who couldn't do what your husband's done. If I put a gun to your head, you have no place of reference to put this trauma, this betrayal, this addiction, or even the intimacy anorexia that has come into your life through the choices of your husband. Now, the quick way to try to manage the pain and trauma is to try to control the environment. Because if I can control him or the girlfriend or the computer or the pornography, if I can get on top of that and stay in control of that, then it's not going to cause me pain. And let me tell you honestly, that's a very human response. If you find yourself checking everything and going through phone records, I've heard this thousands of times. It's very human to want to choke off the place where pain is coming into your life. So I don't want you to feel shame when you hear that. That's a normal response. And it's usually the first go-to for a lot of people who've been traumatized, who've been put in pain. Okay? Now, that may become its own issue, but it's a legitimate option in the beginning, a normal reaction, okay? Now, often, we'll incorporate the emotional management of your internal pain as well to regulate stability. So again, the control will be trying to manage the environment. Regulation is trying to regulate you, okay? And both parts of this dance are significant. Okay, some women want to only focus on the external. Some women only want to focus on the internal. But it's a dance. It's a dance. His trustworthiness and you giving trust is a dance. And it's going to go through several areas of your relationship. Okay, the soul wants to be stable, both externally and internally. You know, I feel really safe right now. I'm in my own studio, in my own building. All the doors are locked. Only my staff's around here. I feel safe externally and internally. You have moments of that, okay? Now, when you have past trauma, betrayal trauma, intimacy anorexia, sex addiction trauma, and all the processes of healing, sadly, more of the process of healing from trauma is on the person who is traumatized. Now, this seems incredibly unfair, incredibly unjust, because it is. The sniper who shoots a woman from 300 feet and puts her in pain, she now has a bullet that she has to go to the emergency room. And then she finds out she has to do, 16 weeks of physical therapy to be able to do what she was able to do before that man shot her. And it is unfair and it is unjust. If the sniper does all this apologizing, she still has to do the physical therapy. In the same way, no matter if your husband fully changes and fully repents and fully gets into recovery and he becomes Mr. Stud of recovery and he never lies to you again and he never cheats on you again, and as an intimacy anorexic, he opens his heart and he becomes a super romantic, loving, giving man to you, you're still going to have to heal. And it's not fair. And it's not just. It just is. But it's so that you can have a better life. If that woman keeps the bullet in her leg, doesn't go to the hospital, and it closes up and she limps for 30 years, she's not helping herself. You did not cause the bullet, but that trauma is going to require work from you to regain your life back, including safety externally and internally. In the same, most of the women who are partners are really good women, doing life right, and wham, they get shot by this betrayal. More sadly, the person who shot you, you're married to. That's tough. Because you really put all your weight in this relationship, believing with all your very good woman heart that you are not going to get hurt by him in this way. And boom, it's like a nuclear bomb went off into every area of your life. Okay? Even more sad it is for the woman who gets this dribbled out disclosure because he's not man enough to say, I did X, Y, and Z X amount of times over this period of time. Here it all is. Especially if they're IA, it's like they can dribble this thing out for 6 months or a year. And depending on what counseling model you're using, in our model, we get it done right away. But there are models that don't respect you as a partner who will say, honey, just wait for 6 months or a year until he can. He can do it the first day. Thousands of men have taken polygraphs the first day of meeting me. Okay? So it can be done, and it helps him and it helps you. But that dribble disclosure, if you've experienced that every 4 to 6 weeks, you're getting up and getting hit back, well, that's going to amplify and it's going to increase the time and process for safety as well as just general healing. Trauma impacts the journey of safety, and hopefully he has stopped shooting you. However, turning to the sniper for healing or even for safety can set you up for a longer process because you're trying to maybe put all the external weight of safety on someone who may not be ready for that. Okay, so you're going to have to dance this back and forth between external and internal safety for you to be able to really be safe. The pain of trauma is real. It's sudden. The process of healing from trauma is not so quick, okay? It's real. The effects on you of not feeling safe are real. The world you were living in is untrue and gone forever. You've lost so much. And I've got several other DVDs, addiction, marriage after addiction, great, goes through some of that for you, okay? If you've experienced trauma, you will feel unsafe and you will feel many other feelings, okay? Paralyzed, frustrated, betrayed, confused, overwhelmed. Reclaiming your safety and your sense of security will be a journey. And sadly, there are no quick fixes. For you, any amount of fixing him does not guarantee safety becoming quicker. Okay? It's a process. So be patient with yourself. It's reasonable to never want this to happen to you again. Nobody wants you to be shot again. Nobody wants that for you. Okay? Now, some believe if they can control the internal or external variables, they can guarantee they will be safe. If I can know when you did it, where you did it, who it was, what they look like, those kind of things, they're not usually generally helpful because he will forget them because he was in an altered state when he did them. But you will never forget them. So every time you see someone with that hair color or that particular feature, you could be triggered for years. Okay, so you want to be really careful about that. Okay, and sadly, there's no guarantee of safety in any relationship. Okay, your kids will hurt you, your friends will hurt you, your neighbors will hurt you, employers will hurt you, employees will hurt you. All the people you have relationship will cause pain because pain is part of relationships. Okay, humans are not safe creatures. All of us get hurt, and if we're honest, sometimes we hurt some people too. Now, moving the bar to reasonable safety and determining what that will be part of your journey. Okay, sadly, total safety doesn't exist. In this world with humans, it will never exist. So if you go to the place emotionally that I need to feel totally safe all the time, you're setting yourself up for something that's not possible. Now, I love you very much. I've given my life and service and resources to helping you heal for decades. That idea can hurt you. So what I really like you to consider is, what does reasonable safety look like? Maybe you have to go through the different areas we talked about earlier. What does it mean to be reasonably safe for you right now? And maybe increasing that as you take the journey.